Ladies and gentlemen, children of the interwebs out there, especially everything strong style, nerd short style, cinephile, Stargirl, Shining Knight. Let's geek about it for a few minutes. I'm not going to go through it like blow by blow, since I'm a bit late on this video, but I just want to geek about a few things that happened in the episode. Namely, the first thing that I called happening many videos ago, what was going to happen with Stargirl was that she was going to find out, because I know some people on Reddit, on YouTube, various message boards were saying they were hoping that Starman was actually going to be Courtney's father, which we knew from the comics that he was not. But of course, certain shows take certain liberties with origins and background stuff like that when they go from the comic book pages to the screen to kind of change things up, to kind of just take the source material and kind of tweak it a little bit, because some stuff just doesn't work when you transfer it just shot for shot or just idea for idea onto the screen. It's okay, I acknowledge that. If I want the strict source material, I will stick to the comics. That's why people always can make complaints about stuff that happens or stuff that they tweak when stuff is taken from the comic books to the screen. Now, if it just goes way left of center, then I have an issue, with it. But if it's just certain little things that you kind of have to tweak, go from comic book to screen, I'm okay with that. And some people were wondering if this was going to be the case where Starman was actually going to be Stargirl's father, because she was so dead set on it. She was so fixated on it. Her whole mission, her whole Stargirl world was dependent on her being Starman's daughter. And to find out, no, she's not. Of course she's not. And I said that what I expected to happen was, like in episode 13, the closing moments of episode 13, the season 1 finale, that there's going to be like a knock at the door, the doorbell's going to ring, Courtney was going to open it, and there's going to be the dude saying, "Hey, Courtney, I'm your father." And that'll be the cliffhanger for the season 1 episode finale, and then season 2 would start with like the first couple episodes would be Courtney's world shattered, and her idea of what she's done, what she's been doing, the sacrifices she's made, she didn't really have to make because she wasn't Starman's daughter, and that she would have to find a new reason for being, a new reason to be Stargirl. That's what I thought was going to happen in season 2, but no, they dropped the bomb on her in this episode in Shining Knight, which we got a little bit more insight on Shining Knight, and the episode title has a dual meaning for it, because Stargirl's father shows up, he's a douchebag. He's trying to weasel his way back into her life for just a day, just so he can pawn a locket off her, the locket that she has that has his picture in it that she thought was Starman's. They're worth a lot of money together as a set. It was something that his grandmother, gave him as a pair. He gave one to Courtney. She wears it all the time. It's like her thing, especially because she thinks the picture of Starman, and he would like it back so he can take it, sell it, get a place, because the place that he has now is too small, barely even small for him, and he would like her to come visit at some point when he gets back on his feet. Gets the locket from her, and it just Brett Bassinger just played just so many emotions in this episode. She played them so very well. She's casting knocked it out of the park with so many roles on this show. Just knocked it out of the park. Her playing the lead of Stargirl, definitely one of them. She just goes through this whole wide range of emotions and reactions to this episode, to this guy who at first she doesn't believe is her dad, and then she kind of begrudgingly accepts as her dad, and then they start to kind of get along over this afternoon meal that they have, and she thinks, I don't know what she thinks, but maybe down the line they can put together foster some kind of relationship. But then it gets screwed up, because then he reveals to be only after the locket, which I think she realizes that as well, and then she gives it up to him, and maybe that's her giving up on being Stargirl, giving up the idea that Starman is her father, which this, revelation has shaken her to her core. She believes that this, she's gotten people killed, she's dragged her friends into this, and she didn't need to, because she wasn't Starman's daughter. Then the staff doesn't respond to her anymore, and again she thinks it's because the staff knows that she's not Starman's daughter. Pat killed it in this episode. Luke Wilson is just dynamite in this episode, of course. He's there for Courtney when she needs him, and he's very much Courtney's Shining Knight in this episode. So the episode kind of represents Pat as Courtney's Shining Knight, as well as Sir Justin and his story and his struggles with trying to regain his memory. We know from him, Dr. Ito, Dragon King, did something to him to shatter his mind and just leave him just a bum, like a janitor bum janitor who's just seen as just weird and scary, and just a dude that has problems by everybody around him, and he's just trying to get back to who he was, get back to what he was, just the proud knight, proud warrior that he was. So it's interesting to see him struggle with that, struggle with who he is now, and just the fact that his memory's gone, and he's just become this different person entirely. Again, dynamite performance by the actor playing Sir Justin. His scenes with Pat, Luke Wilson, were just, it was heartbreaking. So this episode was full of just some heartbreaking, tug at your heartstrings sort of moments, from the emotional stuff with Courtney and her father, and Pat, and Justin, to Pat going after Courtney's biological father, telling him not to come back, and then ends up like punching him out in the street when he makes a flippant comment about Barbara, to Mike when Courtney and Pat are talking about the kind of Stargirl-y type of business. Mike comes in and wants to know what's going on, if they're going to get a divorce or not, and then Pat's like, it's going to be okay, and he just wants to know what's going on. He feels that there's something going on, which there is, that they haven't told him about, which they haven't, and he just wants to know, and he feels like, and he just utters like, what did I do wrong? And just that heartbreak you can feel in that. I mean, like I said, this dude has come a long way from just being this annoying, spoiled, bratty, like Pop-Tart loving kid in the first episode to these last few episodes. He's just he's got some stuff beneath the surface, and the delivery on it, it's just been tugging at the heartstrings a lot, with his reactions to jealousy with Courtney, to sticking up and standing with his father when it looked like him and Barbara were going to break up, and to this, where he thinks he did something wrong. Pat's like, no, bro, like, you did nothing wrong. So I'm wondering when he's going to finally get brought into the fold of what's going on. I think in the next episode, because we see from the promos that Tigress is at their house and attacking because they've been sent there by Icicle to just wipe out Stargirl and her family, because Brainwave has remembered that Stargirl is Courtney, and that throws Icicle's world out of whack. At first, he was wanting to spare Barbara from what they were going to do. And then he finds out Barbara's daughter Stargirl, finds out that Barbara was looking up Starman, and he's like, screw it. He comes around to Brainwave and what Brainwave wants to do, and says, go take him out, even the boy, because they don't want to leave any legacies like laying around. So it's again, casting knocked out of the park, because you have this actor who just threads the line between like caring individual, upstanding citizen, to this just heartless, murderous villain. And again, we kind of see some of the friction that exists between members of the Injustice Society. And again, it kind of leads us to believe that when they get taken down by this junior JSA, that is going to be much, it's going to be because of the infighting, the fact that they don't get along, they don't trust each other. They're here for a common goal, to get paid and to do this thing, but they don't like each other. And they resent each other, they take shots at each other. Some are intimidated by other ones. So all that is going to lead to them and their downfall. It was just, there wasn't a lot of action in this episode, but it was just a lot of emotional stuff going on, like I said, between Courtney and her biological father, Pat, and the biological father, Pat and Courtney, Pat and Mike, Sir Justin and Pat. There's a lot of Pat stuff in this episode. And then Courtney kind of telling the other kids that she's not Starman's daughter. She doesn't feel that she's Stargirl. She's ready to leave Blue Valley and just leave it all behind. And they're trying to encourage her. And at one point in the episode, we see her have another heart-to-heart with Pat, and just kind of tell her basically, like, the staff knows the goodness in her heart, the belief in herself, and that's what she needs to recapture, because she lost it, which is why the staff won't respond to her. So she needs to recapture that, and then the staff will work for her. And then she goes downstairs, we see her with Pat and Barbara, and she touches staff, believes in herself, and then staff goes like Super Saiyan. And that sets us up for the next episode. And I think we're going to get, like the last few episodes, we're going to get more action. I think we're going to see a lot of the budget go into these last few episodes. And I'm here to see it. The show is just so good. Like I said, it's just one of the best superhero shows going today. It just gives you just little bits and pieces every single episode. I really don't think we've had an episode like in the Netflix Marvel shows where you just in the middle there's like 2 or even 3 episodes where you're like, I could have done without this episode because it was just so slow, brought everything down, the story grinded to a halt. But in this, nope, every single episode's been building upon building upon building upon building what's going on. The last episode is just good writing, which I fear is in danger when it goes to the CW. we'll just cross that bridge when we come to it, you know? Anyway, those are my thoughts on it. Scattered as they often are. It's just another fine episode of Stargirl. Just an emotional gut punch on so many levels, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it all, and I'm here for the action that we're going to get in the next episode. Anyway, we got Transformers on Netflix. Got to talk about that. Got to geek about that. Really, really good. Really good. Going to geek about that very, very soon. Until next time, though, let's geek.